I think the grace of Heavenly Mother, compassion of Maitreya Buddha, Qigong Buddha, virtue of Patriarch, Sizun Simu, and also Grand Master and Senior Master for allowing me to have this opportunity to host this session. Thank you so much. And today we will begin on chapter 33. Chapter 33 is a short chapter, but I think it's very easy to understand, but we can always dive into it. So this chapter talks about that we should focus inward, not outward. As the first paragraph say, as the first statement here says, Lao Tzu turns the focus from outward conquest to inward understanding. True wisdom lies in knowing oneself. This chapter calls us to develop inner strength, embrace contentment, and seek self-realization over external success. So this is a beautiful chapter. I want to stress that there's 81 chapters in Tao Te Ching. All the chapters are great. So I encourage you to find any chapter that resonates with you. We don't have to memorize all the chapters. Just pick one or two that you like, and then you can just remind yourself that you want to discipline yourself using this chapter as an example. So that will be a great way to incorporate Tao Te Ching into your life. Okay, so this chapter is about self-realization. Let's continue. Okay, so when we study chapter 33, we can read the first two lines together because they come in a group, as you can see in the bracket here. So let me begin with a line here. One who, Giacomo Tienshin, maybe you can help us to read the line here.
One who knows others is knowledgeable. One who knows oneself has clarity.
Oh, continue.
One who overcomes others has power. One who overcomes oneself is strong. One who is content is wealthy. One who has strength has perseverance. One who doesn't lose his place will be everlasting. One who dies yet does not perish will live long.
Good, thank you, Giacomo, brother. So let me read the Chinese. 知人者智，智之者明。胜人者有力，智胜者强。知足者富，强行者有志。不思其所者久，死而不亡者寿。So that's the Chinese pronunciation. Now let's go to the first line. One who knows others is knowledgeable. So here, we want to emphasize about what is knowledgeable. So in order to thrive in our society, or even on this earth, in this 3D dimension, knowledge is very important. And this knowledge is something that we learn from our eyes, from our ears, from our experience. So for example, the real estate guru, they know when to purchase a property at the right time because they accumulate this experience over the year, so they can make a profit. And that's true for stock and investment and all kind of business. In order to open a business, to make the business profitable, we need some kind of experience, and maybe we need to get that experience from other people, from other business model. So those are external knowledge. And not only that, we also need to have some skill that enable us to thrive in a society, so that we can help us to pay rent, help us to pay for insurance, food on the table. So those are the knowledge. And also, as well as follow the laws. There's the traffic laws, there's the social law, and there's the organization culture that we need to be need to be aware of, because every culture has its norm, and we don't want to break the norm. Imagine if we break the norm or the law, then we will be harassed or be bullied, right? Yeah, yeah. But having the knowledge is not necessarily a negative connotation, because we do need this knowledge to thrive in a society. Such as if you are in the management level, you need to be able to know what your subordinate think. If you are a boss, you need to know what the other people think. If you're a co-worker in a company, you need to work in a teamwork. So working together, it's also a skill that you acquire externally. However, there are people who abuse the knowledge, and therefore that's when we receive manipulation and scam, right? The next one is one who knows oneself has clarity. So this clarity is not easy to achieve, because in our mind we have so much disturbance. And where does the disturbance come from? It comes from our desire, comes from our attachment, comes from so many things, right? And this we need to dive into. We have this true self and false self, because our false self speak very loud than our true self. A lot of time, our true self are just like holding in a very silent mode. The true self is sometimes the voice is so small that you don't even notice. For example, say I like to use the example for going to buffet. We all like to go to buffet, and then your inner voice tells you that you shouldn't eat anymore, and then that voice is so small. But then your tummy, your appetite say, go eat, you should eat more. So your false self tend to speak louder, and then sometimes maybe there's somebody that we don't like, and then your inner voice, that is your false self, will tell you, okay, so we are going to find ways to remember that person's bad doing or wrongdoing. So our false self will speak louder than our true self. So knowing oneself is really difficult. It's easier to know other people, but not easy to know ourselves. That's right here on the right, I have a stick of incense. You know, in the ancient time, some monk or some practitioner in the temple, or Tao temple, Buddha's temple, people light up one incense. That way it's to check the timing. The timing of what? Because if I tell you, okay, let's check our own wrongdoing. Can you check what you did wrong today or yesterday? So maybe we can say, okay, I did something wrong yesterday, and it just take a few seconds to catch it. But that is not enough. So in the old time, they use the incense to use that time. Maybe it's 5 minutes of time, depends on the thickness of the incense and the height of the incense. So that once the incense is burned out, that's the time that you finish your repentance. That's a very long time, right? So that's how much it takes for us to know ourselves. And how much it takes for us to find our own fault, how much it takes to understand how our true self is being dragged by our emotion. We have 7 emotions: joy, anger, sadness, fear, and love, and desire. And we are constantly being dragged by this emotion. And if we know ourselves, we will know that our true self is constantly fluctuated by the emotion like a wave. So, do we really know ourselves? If we cannot know ourselves, how can we know other people? It's very difficult, right? So why a lot of time we spend time we spend more time pointing finger at others, but not at ourselves. Hmm. So this morning I was just thinking about what if somebody, like this morning I drive to the temple, right? What if I'm driving and somebody hit me? So how can I watch my emotion? I think this is a little drastic. So somebody hit me, it must be that person's fault, right? But could it be a test to see how my emotion rise? Most people will say, why did you hit me? But as a Tao practitioner, we want to ask ourselves, okay, that person hit me, my car is damaged, but how does my emotion fluctuate? How do I observe this as an incident? Do we feel angry? Do we feel sad? But I always have a way to pull myself out. And that way is that to think it can be worse because that person hit my car. At least my physical body is still fine and I can still go open my car and then go down and then talk to that person. So physically I'm still fine. So it could have been worse. So it's a blessing that I'm still okay. And how many times have you gone to the pharmacy, say Walgreens or CVS? You wait for your medicine. They told you that it's ready, but then when you go, it's not ready. So can we know how our emotion fluctuate? How many times do you see our emotion fluctuate? So if we can step back as an observer, we will know, okay, that emotion comes so quick, we are being controlled. It's not easy to know ourselves. So once we know ourselves, then we will have this clarity, right? Because being an observer definitely has a clear view than an insider, right? You are the outsider and the inside versus the insider. Outsider has a better view because you see the view of the whole scene, but the insider have only narrow scope of view. So when you know yourself, you have that clarity because you can achieve inner peace, and you once you have that inner peace, of course, you receive that freedom from internal conflict and avoid that confusion. Living in according with your true self rather than try to fit external affair. So Tao practice is to focus more on ourself than dealing with external affair. Um, um, in a sense, this is not easy because we can talk about it's a big subject. So um, yeah, focusing ourselves is very important. Not being influenced by the external, because we have to know where we anchor at. It's just like it's just like in Newport Beach on the harbor. There's a lot of small boats, so each boat has been tied to some kind of a pole. So we all need to be aligned with something. Um, so imagine the rope is a little longer, then the boat will be able to move a little bit more, but it still have some kind of alignment. But if you don't have alignment, that means you are being driven away somewhere in the harbor, or eventually you will go into the sea, and then it will be like a, a boat without anchor. Imagine you are driving a boat and you eventually you want to rest. but then there's no anchor. So that's what happened to aligning with a Tao. We need a place to anchor our soul. And where is that anchor place? That's important. And understanding of our place within the greater Tao. Because when you know yourself, you will be able to connect everything else. So this is like, one thing happened yesterday. Yesterday, I went to visit my mom, and my next door neighbor knocked on the door. And then this neighbor, it's same age as my mom. So she has, I would say she has dementia and Alzheimer because she said that her house got hacked. And then later on, and then she was afraid to go home. So I ended up spending 2 hours with her because we were waiting for the son to come from Los Angeles, drive to Roland Heights to rescue the mom. Anyway, so when I see the son, I told the son the situation. Your mom, she's so anxious, she's nervous, she's so scared because her home is hacked, and then things are stolen. And then the son, I was surprised. The son told me, and then I told the son that, you know, from now on you need to install security camera. You need to park your car outside. You need to have double lock in your door. I give him a list, and then the son told me, we don't need security camera because we already have nine ring device in the home, and then there's some outside camera too. And then I say, okay, so did you see anybody going to the house stealing things? He said, no, it's just you. I just see Joanna and my mom going to the house because the neighbor took me to the house, her house. So the son told me he did not see anybody. So obviously this lady have Alzheimer. So this is something that I can relate to. So my mom had very slight degree of Alzheimer, and she's very forgetful, and she is like putting things all over the house. So I know my mom. I know my mom very well. She is clumsy because of her old age. She lose memory, and then she she's also forgetful too, very slight degree of Alzheimer. So I can relate that to my neighbor. So once you find that connection, then you can relate better. So I would like to think of that lady as my auntie or my mom. And from that kind of, you know, the love that I extend to my mom, I can extend to my neighbor. So this is the same thing. If we know our position in Tao, we all come from the origin, right? Who has not come from the origin? Do we know we come from the origin? If we know that we come from the origin, so is everybody. So I come from the origin. You come from the origin. Giacomo brother come from origin. Robert come from origin. Raj come from Uji. Tanya come from the Heavenly Mother. Peter come from the Heavenly Father. It's all the same. So if we all come from the same place, why are we fighting? Right? So this help us to have that clarity. So eventually having that clarity will of course lead to that enlightenment, isn't it? Thank you, Tanya, for turning on your camera. So the core message for this two line is external versus internal. External, it's important, right? Because we need this tool to thrive in this society. We need to know all the laws, right? But we also need that alignment to help us to anchor. Utility versus enlightenment. So The external knowledge is useful for us to navigate in the world. And enlightenment and the clarity is important for us because it helps us on our spiritual journey. Next one who overcomes others has power. So this line, it's about using power. Power, Lao Tzu is not talking about willpower. Lao Tzu is talking about the power people use to dominate others. It's using force, using something to crush other people. And let's see, it's whatever I have, I'm going to put it on you. Whether it's physical force, whether it's academic knowledge and performance. Sometimes maybe I know more and my intellect. I'll perform you. The recent Harvard graduate, whoever is good at public speech, they have that power to speak. And of course, and if they do well, that power comes with job resource. They will have more power to attract their future employment, right? And the power also comes from intellectual superiority, superiority, super, superiority, and also finance. Whoever nowadays in our society, whoever have money, sometimes they have more power, right? And wealth, social status, and we all know this: authority, connection, ranking in an organization, and social media likes. So this it's become a new trend too. Sometimes they have this YouTuber have this influential power to influence their fans too. But Lao Tzu say all this power, it's only temporary. It it does not give people, it does not give the recipient a good feeling because they are being suppressed. They feel that they are follower. But in reality, Lao Tzu tells us that overcoming ourselves is true power. And that is, it gives us strength. So the strength is not about external dominance. It's about inner mastery. So this kind of power, let me take it back. So the external power, when we dominate other people using our force, financial resource, wealth, ranking, this will be temporary. Temporary meaning that it will only last. It has a timing. The maximum we will say is during your lifetime. In your next life, it will be gone. So it comes to the next line. So what will last long? What will last forever? What will be long lasting and it will not diminishing? And that will be your inner mastery. And it's your virtue. It's your true self. How much you cultivate your true self. So this strength is talking about inner mastery on your self-discipline and control. How can you control your own desire, fear, anger, resentment, and attachment, ego, and impulses? Because we have so much thing that we need to clean house. That's why our mind is not clear. That's why we are not enlightened. That's why we are here learning TaoTeChing. And I believe all of us, whoever want to be here, we want to thrive ourselves. We want to gain that strength. So self-discipline is very important. So in order to be strong, that means just like the tree here, we are stable and steady. We don't move. And Have you heard of, there's a saying, silence is golden. This one applies to silence is golden because in a way, any smart person know that this person who is silent, it doesn't mean that this person is a coward, but this person is strong. That person can hold the humiliation, can hold the blame, can hold the scolding. Um, who is our biggest enemy? The biggest enemy is ourselves. Not other people, it's ourselves. And who is our own enemy? It's our false self. Because our false self like to have a conflict with our true self. And they are constantly infighting. So self-discipline is to discipline your monkey mind. Because your monkey mind comes with desire, fears, anger, and um let your boat, let your horse go everywhere, running everywhere and become out of control. So our job is to catch our monkey. So once we catch our monkey, we will have that inner peace and resilience. We don't want to be swayed by external circumstance. Because like we said earlier, once we find our anchor, we know where we need to lean on. And that anchor is our Tao, it's our true self. And we can think about it's our root too. How often does the tree move its root? The tree does not move the root. If the tree move the root, well, I mean, if you want to relocate that tree mm, will kind of get sick for a period of time and for it to get recovered. So when we grow our root, we want to make sure we grow in a steady way, steady, stable, and consistency and with persistence. So having that stable source is important. So that comes to the third one. C, recognition of higher spiritual self. So having the ability to align ourselves with that higher self is not easy. That's why Tao Te Ching it's a big help. Constantly feeding our spirit. It's important. Every day we eat 3 meals a day: breakfast, lunch, dinner. So if you are over 670, I suggest only eat 2 meals because that's what the doctor say. So we need this food to nurture our body. What about our mind? We need some kind of food to nurture our mind too. When I say mind, I mean our spirit. So what have you done to nurture your spirit? It's very important because this is part of knowing yourself. Recognize you have this higher self, spiritual self. So what do you do to nurture yourself? Just maybe take a walk in the morning outside of your house. Take a walk in the evening outside of your house. Maybe find some quiet time, petting to your petting petting to your pet. Maybe do some meditation. Um, Contemplate on the Tao Te Ching in any one of the chapter. Listen to some um, spiritual teaching. That would be good. But I would suggest you to do it without any cost. Because right now there's so many people, they say, I'm going to clean your energy, and they charge you $110. They charge you some amount of money. They charge you to go to a certain place for a retreat, and they cost you $500, $1,000. So I don't recommend you to do that because to clear your energy, Maybe if you want to go, just do one time. But I don't want you to spend so much money because that energy is something that you can get yourself. What about just go to the beach? Just sit under the sun and then just sit there for a few minutes, maybe 30 minutes to listen to the wave. And that's one way to help you to align your spiritual self with the universe. Because Tao, we all come from the universe. And all the nature scene that you see is part of Tao. So you don't want to stay in your concrete cell in your room. Our home is made out of drywall and 2x4 and carpet. So all these are artificial things. So if you want to help yourself to recognize you have a higher self and you want to discover yourself, the best way is to immerse yourself into the nature. So when we talk about overcoming oneself is strong, um, it's about being flexible too, without compromising integrity. For example, Confucius, he's very strong. He can navigate his life without being killed. Confucius been through a lot. So he was really famous in 2000 years ago. So many people want to, or many people are afraid of him because he has gained so much popularity. His student eventually accumulate to more than 3,000. So imagine his student started from 5 to 10 and eventually to 3,000. It's like he has so much power and people want to get rid of him. So one way to get rid of him is to destroy his classroom. He liked to conduct his class under a tree. And whatever the tree is that he teach, the governor will send somebody to cut down the tree. So he feels sad. Um, he feel lonely, but he is still he still have this strong willpower. But he never bend down. People threaten him, but his inner self tell him that teaching is one thing that he want to do. So he is his mind is clear because he's total aligned with Tao, yet he's flexible enough to find another tree. And people burn his book too. So, oh, I'm sorry. Burn his book was in the Qing dynasty. It was in a later time. But there were people try to make him um just like feeling hungry. How do you say that? Suffocate him. No, not suffocate. Well, they kind of
Starve
form,
him.
oh yeah, starving. They want to starve him and his student. So there were many days they go on teaching without food. And some of his students were were almost defeated. Some students left the group, but some stay because they want to follow their teacher. Of course, Confucius was starving too, but they don't want to bend down to the force and they continue on the journey. But eventually, somebody come to rescue him. So being strong, sometimes we have to maneuver our way. Yeah. Um, in my household, as an example, my husband is very dominated, but I find way to flow around. If he is the rock, I flow around him. Um, yeah, so I really know how to flow around, and that's where I am now. So let's look at the second section. The crucial distinction between the common person and sage is that external dominance use force to dominate other. So this kind of idea does not resonate with other people. So eventually that power, that wealth, that dominance will be ending to exhaustion. And then people will leave you. And it leads to competition. And eventually you will be ended up the one struggling because the external dominance is only temporary. But internal strength comes from self-mastery, upholding our moral principle, ethic, integrity, self-control. So everything it's aligning with Tao. And Tao is eternal. It goes beyond life and death. Um, there's one secret of staying, having a younger appearance. You know what is that? If you are living in, if you think you live in timeless, if you think it's how you believe, if you think you live in timeless, then your aging process will slow down. Why? Because you align your mind and your soul with Tao, with the nature. And all this thing is timeless. And our body react to our mind. So when our mind is anchored with the universe, with the source, with Tao, your physical body will slow down the aging process. Okay, now the next slide. One who is content is wealthy. And you say, wow, wealthy. Wait a minute. Why Lao Tzu talk about wealthy? Because how would you know if you're wealthy if you've never been through poorness? How would you know if you are poor if you've never been through wealthy? If you are never young once, how would you know you are old? If you are, so it's all by comparison. So how would Lao Tzu want us to think about wealth and poorness, young and old, the duality? Here, the key word is content. Content. The key word is content. It's not about wealth. It's about our mind. It's feeling content. So the key word here is content. So so the contentment comes from our mind, whether it's comfort or happiness, it's all internal. They don't depend on luxurious surrounding, but rather it's a state of mind. So Lao Tzu wants us to focus on moderation because living in this material world, we do need some place to live, and having that place to live, that means we need to pay rent, right? So we try to be humble. So having that a mind that's peaceful mind, whatever I live in, I'm okay. It's not about um it's not about how much I have. It's about how much where I am in now in my mind. Do I feel secure? Do I feel comfortable? Because if you don't feel comfortable, that means you want to go acquire something, right? So moderation is an important thing. And as a Tao cultivator, we can eat very simple food too. But we still want to eat something nutritious. Nutritious doesn't mean like having delicacy. We can have nutritious food. For example, I'm a vegetarian. I receive my protein from flaxseed, walnut, almond. yeah, a lot of lentils have protein. And then vitamin B2, um, magnesium and iron, I can all get it from plant-based diet too. So having that moderation is important. Um, yeah, Lao Tzu never asked us to live poorly, but Lao Tzu asked us to live in contentment in our mind. Because no matter how much we have, we will eventually feel poor. Some people they feel that they have $10,000. $10,000 to you, to Tanya, maybe it's a lot of money. But to me, at first, it's a lot of money. But once I own this $10,000 for a period of time, it become normalized. And then I will say, is that it? I want more. So that's why uh, my mom always tell me that if you marry a husband who is handsome, one day you will get tired of it. I say, well, it's very hard to understand. Why would I get tired of it? Well, my mom tried to teach me, don't look at the external thing. But let's dive into it. Why would we get tired of it if we marry somebody who is handsome? Somebody who is handsome, we our eyes like to see pleasing things, like to look at beautiful things. But why do we get tired of it? I did not know this until I read Tao Te Ching. So at first, we will feel that excitement. Oh, wow, you look so beautiful, so charming, so gorgeous. But if you look at it one day, you feel, wow, you have this wow. Second day, you say, wow. Third day, you say, uh-huh, uh-huh. And then fourth day, uh, okay, so that's how you look. So you become, this is how you look. And then, but this face is not the only thing that we live with. We also live with this person's internal. And then we start to notice that this person has flaws. Oh, you don't wash hand using the bathroom. Okay, when you squeeze the toothbrush, you squeeze from the middle. Okay, you don't brush after you eat. So, okay, we start to notice, okay, so handsome is not everything. And then that face we become it become a normal thing in our life. Then we start to look for something more exciting. And that happens to us, right? Yeah. Imagine if we go to vacation, let's say for honeymoon, and you say, wow, this hotel is so luxurious. Oh, I feel so happy here. I can stay here forever. But then after you stay there, say 1 month, maybe 1 week, you still feel that excitement. You still want to stay another week. But imagine you stay there for a year. I'm sure you will get tired of it. I don't know if you have that experience. I have. And I want to get out. So that's what I meant. Once we have something that we want, that we really want, later on it become normal and it become obsolete. Our phone is the best example. If you have the iPhone 17, I don't know what is the latest phone right now. The first time when you get your phone, you feel so exciting. But then what happened after a week or after a month? It become normal, right? So Benjamin Franklin say, contentment makes poor men rich. Discontent makes rich men poor. So it's not about what we have, it's about our mind. Okay, so um, let's dive in further on this line here. Okay, so in this slide, I added two pictures. Nowadays, China or even I think slowly, eventually, it might come to USA. So China has this social memes. It's called laying flat. So why do they want to lay flat? Because everything becomes so expensive. It's so it's so difficult to find a girl to marry to. It's so difficult to buy a house. Very difficult to find jobs. Even if you get married, you cannot afford having a kid. And there is a scarcity of women. So looking for job is so difficult. It's like trying to find a piece of needle in the ocean. And we know the economy in China, right? There's a lot of factory withdrawal from China. So in China, this is the norm. People just lay flat. They lay flat under the bridge, under the tree, um, by the shops. In USA, we call it homeless. So in USA, we just call it homeless. It's the same thing, right? So how does that relate to one who is content is wealthy? Does that contradict with Lao Tzu's teaching? In Los Angeles, in Los Angeles, even in Riverside, in San Francisco, there's a lot of homeless camp. So I don't know if it has been cleaned up or not. So laying flat here is different than what Lao Tzu is talking about. What Lao Tzu is talking about here is active internal process of finding peace and sufficiency. It's the mindset of feeling wealthy. But laying flat is external pressure, like the 996 work. You know what is 996? 996 is working 9 hours a day from 9 to 9, working 6 days a week. So that means working 72 hours. So kids, they don't find future because they work 996, work from 9 to 9, 12 hours a day, 6 days a week, 72 hours per week. So this is their culture, and they have high cost of living, and there's intense of competition. And basically, if you are more than 35, you cannot find jobs because all the company, and that is true in the Asian, this is very true in Asia country. I think it's true in Korea, in Japan, not in Taiwan, Philippines, because I have friend told me that. So because when you reach 35, your productivity becomes low. So there's intense competition. So eventually they lead to exhaustion and they feel helpless. So laying flat, it has a negative connotation. It's like they are being forced for contentment due to external circumstance. It's not a proactive embrace of inner contentment. Or so Lao Tzu's teaching here is active contentment. It's appreciation. It's aligning with Tao. It's aligning with Tao, appreciate the universe. But laying flat, it's passive. It's a form of withdrawal from the society. Now, next one. One who has strength has perseverance. So this perseverance is, let's see. Okay. This perseverance, it means a strong willpower. It means consistency. So this is it echoes with the previous line. So this one is in the previous line talks about forcing order, but this one it's about forcing ourselves to have this discipline. So there's a 4 way of doing on the right. So there's a doing with reluctance. doing with external benefit. Just like the kid, sometimes we ask the kids to do something and they are being forced to do it. And then there are times that we do it with benefit. Okay, I do it because you give me some kind of reward. And then the third one, it's what Lao Tzu is talking about here, doing with self-imposed, self-discipline. And the next one is Wu Wei. So Lao Tzu here is talking about, let's see, it's about overcoming oneself. So this line does not contradict with Wu Wei because Wu Wei's action is aligned with Tao. This one is also aligned with Tao. And Wu Wei, it's the last doing here, doing with ease. So I would say one who has strength, has perseverance, is a step before Wu Wei, and that is Your Wei. So before we reach to the state of Wu Wei, we need to have that stage of Your Wei, right? How can we reach to that stage of Wu Wei without actually training ourselves to doing it? So we need to have that knowledge first, and then we do it with ease. Do it with ease. So that's Wu Wei, with a genuine effort. That's what I'm saying. Next one. So balance with knowing contentment. So this second line here is really important because when we have strength and has perseverance, it could be steer us to the wrong path. For example, I don't like that person. In the past, we all seen some news. There's a person want to kill the other person because I don't like you. Maybe you take away my inheritance, so I don't like you. I want to kill you. I want to murder you. So this line have to have a condition before, and that is one who is content whatever you have. So that condition is your mind have your strength and contentment have to be aligned with Tao. Otherwise, everybody can say, I have strength and I will think about any way that I'm going to step up to the career ladder and I'm going to get rid of everybody using manipulation, using tactic, with perseverance. So perseverance should be used with alignment on Tao. So these two lines tell us that there's that contentment inside of us. It's rich. I would like to say that there's a Buddha in us. There's a Tao in us. In the Christian term, is the kingdom of God is within you, and that spirit, that energy, it's wholesome and complete in its reach because you do have that willpower to do what you want to do. And you say, wait a minute, I want to do something, but I have not achieved what I need to do. Right? And that's because we all have this karma. So our destiny is made out of two parts. 50% it takes up your strong will. The other 50% is your karma or your destiny or your fate. So we do have a fate that we need to deal with. And the other 50% is the strong will. So that strong will is that inner mastery, is the Buddha that I'm talking about. And with that Buddha, you can overcome your destiny. Okay. Next one. One who does not lose his place will be everlasting. So not losing his place. Here, the place is talking about we need a home. We need a place to anchor. Where do you anchor tonight? It's your home, right? Imagine you don't know where is your home. Imagine there's a homeless person, so they don't have a home. So sad, isn't it? So we eventually have to go home because home is the safest place to go. But nowadays, a lot of family are broken and some people ended up being homeless. So home, it's so important. That's your root. So this place, our home, we have this physical home, but our spirit, where is our home? Our spirit is where's our home? If you come to our Tao temple, I will show you where is your home because our spirit do have a home in our physical body. And we know say that our eyes are the window of our soul, right? Our eyes are the window of our soul. So where's the door? So you have to go into the door in order to find where your home is. So even though you find a house, but are you going to your home through your window or through your door? So through your door, you can see where's your home. So we can talk about it later. So this home is talking about our true nature and our essence. So alignment with Tao is so important. One who die yet does not perish will live long. So this first dying is the physical death. And then does not perish. What does not perish? Our body already died. But then we always hear somebody pass away. We say, oh, that person's legacy will stay with us. So it's that person's legacy, teaching, good deed, influence, virtue. And then sometimes this person leave a book for us, some kind of wisdom. But Lao Tzu say, it does not stop right here. We need to go a little further. So this is, we can say it's a superficial understanding, but a more profound understanding on this line is to return to the Tao, to become one with the Tao. Because this one on the top is something that you leave behind. You leave behind for the generation to come. But what about you? What about you? You want to return to the Tao, right? So this one, it's about other people. This one, it's about yourself. So we want to become one with Tao. So let's look in the picture here. So here we live in the duality. We live in a 3D dimension. We live on Earth. So before Earth, there is this Tai Chi. This technically this is called four forms because it has four elements, the black and the white and the two dots. But before four form is the two form, which is called a Tai Chi. And before the two form, it's the energy, right? The energy move around. But before the energy move around, it's actually something comes. But before that something comes, is that little movement. So where does that little movement come from? Right here. It comes from Uji, and it has nothing. It doesn't mean that it's nothing that we cannot see. Well, it's nothing, but there's still energy. Mm. So it's something, it's intangible, it's inaudible, it's intouchable, it's insensible. So it's that Uji. It has no form. Okay. So something that's not perish, it's about our true self. We want to go back to the origin. We all come from the origin, right? Who does not come from origin? Who? We all come from our origin. There's no question about it. So Lao Tzu here talk about longevity. One who die yet does not perish will live long. Okay. So what is longevity? Uh, longevity, it means we want to, huh? 在我的包包里面 pocket 有一个extend In the front office. Longevity is that we want to trace to our origin. Where do we come from? Our origin is longevity. So if we can anchor over there, our spirit will be everlasting, right? Remember in the earlier session, we talked about how to align ourselves. If we can align our spirit with Tao, with nature, we can live in longevity. Our spirit will help us to guide our mind. Our mind will help us to guide our physical body. And therefore, our physical body will reflect to our mind of longevity and our spirit. So in that sense, we live in a more meaningful life. And when we live in a more meaningful life, what does that mean? That means you live in your life without regret. I don't, sometimes I ask myself, if I die tomorrow, if I die tomorrow, would I have any regret? Okay, so I say, probably I will not. And because I did what I can already, and I did my best, and I, I align myself. Although I want to live a little longer, but I try myself to align myself with Tao. So with that mentality, when I die, would I be aligned with Tao? Of course. And then we want to make sure our mind is has this clarity. Okay, so we all want to return to the origin. So just like there's a picture here. There's the seed. This is the cycle of an apple tree. So when we go through this cycle, eventually the tree, the purpose of the tree is to bear the fruit, the apple. And eventually the apple will be rotten or be eaten, and it will contain that seed. So that seed is the same form as that original seed. So same thing for our picture here. Our physical death, it's for the sake of the spirit returning to the root and fulfilling to its destiny, fulfilling to the purpose of our life. So why we are we reincarnated on earth? It's because we want to return to the origin. But how come I'm not in the origin yet? Why? Because our mind is not clear. We have not gotten enlightened. We have so much that we still need to work on. We still need to shed our false self. It's just like the snake need to shed its skin. So we need to shed our ego. We need to shed our greed, desire, resentment, anger, right? So all those that we need to shed. We are in the last slide. So let's look at this again. So in the first two lines, it's about external versus internal. And of course, we understand that external is important because knowledge enable us to help us to, we need that skill to help us to pay rent, to have food on the table. We need to navigate through the society. But internal is important because it helps us to anchor on Tao. And then the next one, we want we don't want to dominate others through power because that's only temporary. We want to focus more on building our internal strength because that's what's more everlasting. The third one is about balancing the mind because we have that strong power, we have that perseverance, but that perseverance have to align with our mind, feeling content and understanding that the kingdom of God is within, and there is a Tao within us, and our spirit is wholesome, complete, and it has the power to allow us to do what we want. But we need to align with Tao. The last one is it's a summary of this chapter, that we want to be long-lasting. Our spirit want to be long-lasting. We want to return to the origin, and returning to our origin is the purpose of our life. Why we are here today? Why we are here today? I can assure you, because we have not we don't have that clarity yet. We still have so much thing that we need to learn. We have so much thing we need to work on. We have so much debris that we need to work on. We have so much we need to discover. I say discover our true self. A lot of people are lost. They couldn't find their true self. But it takes time for us to discover our true self. Maybe that true self is inside the clay, and you have to wash that clay and make sure that diamond inside that clay shines. So once you can find your true self, then you will be everlasting. So I have completed my session on this Tao Te Ching chapter 3, and I want to say special thanks to the PPT editor, Robert M. Jenko, and Robert is here with us today.
Hello.
And please turn on your camera. And Robert is the author of Tao Te Ching and Intuitive Interpretation. And Robert and I spent working on this slide, and I thank Robert for working together with me.
Thank you.
Thank you, Robert. So without him, we won't have this session here today. Thank you so much for your attendance. If mistakes were made or said during today's sharing, I ask the forgiveness from the Heavenly Mother, Buddha Maitreya, Jigong Buddha, Patriarch, Suzhun Simu, Grand Master, and Senior Master Li and Junior Master Li to host this session. Thank you so much.